Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus house system. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the eclipse that is happening at 28 degrees, which is the degree of Cancer, but the eclipse is happening in Virgo. So it's between, some websites have it at 28 degrees and 59 minutes, and then there's another website that has it at 29 degrees. So if it's at the 29 degrees is the degree of Leo to be a president. So perhaps this is why so many presidents and national leaders are getting together to discuss Ukraine. Let me bring up the chart so that I can show you what the eclipse looks like. All right, so remember that I always go to astro-seek.com. This is Cafe Astrology, and they have the eclipse coming in at 29 degrees and 5 minutes, which is opposing Saturn and Neptune, but I always use AstroSeek. So you go here, you click on the eclipse chart, and then this is the picture or the natal chart that you get. Now, this eclipse is a new moon partial solar eclipse. And how do you know it's a new moon? Because the sun and the moon are conjunct. The issues with this eclipse is that it is in opposition to Saturn and Neptune. And there is a square from Mars to Pluto, which I am not very happy about that. Uranus is square to Venus, so anybody that you meet around this eclipse is not set up for a long-term relationship. It's more like dating, having fun for a few months, and that's it, pretty much. So, yeah. So anyway, going back to, this eclipse, there's an 11-degree separation between the lunar nodes. These are the nodes, right? This is the node, and it's 29 degrees, so there's an 11, 12-degree separation. So it's not one of these karmic things, as far as I'm concerned. So, with this eclipse in opposition to Saturn and Neptune, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that appears to be one way, but then the reality is going to be quite different. Like I said, Mars is also squaring Pluto, so which is a very, very difficult aspect on a mundane level, and also personal, especially if you have planets around 28, 29 degrees of Virgo, of Pisces, of Gemini, and Sagittarius. Plus or minus 3 degrees. That's like the orb that this eclipse may affect your life. So just look who comes into your life, what issues come up, what opportunities come up, because it's a new start in the area of your chart where Virgo is. So we'll go over, the 12 ascendants later on. But from a mundane level, like I said in my previous eclipse for Ukraine, they have Mars, and then let me switch over to the birth chart for Ukraine. No. Yep, this is Ukraine's birth chart. And like I said before, they have a horrible birth chart as far as I'm concerned. They have Capricorn rising, which is always difficulty, they struggle, and they have Saturn in the first. But more importantly, they have Mars in the eighth house in Virgo, and Mars is at 25 degrees. So this eclipse is happening in conjunction with their Mars. They have a ton of planets in, let me see, the sun is at Virgo, 0 degrees. The moon is in Aquarius at 2 degrees, at 22 degrees to kill or be killed. And then they have Mercury and Venus in Leo. And they also have Jupiter in Leo. So they're very proud people, as we have seen, right? Now, um, like I was saying, there could be a new start in the area where this eclipse happens for Ukraine. It will be the eighth house. So it could be that, God willing, other countries are going to lend them money, assistance, support, right? Because eighth house is money that comes in all at once from a partner, you know, somebody like joint finances type, that type of thing. Maybe they strike a deal with either the US or Russia concerning the what is it, the basic materials that Ukraine has that apparently they're very valuable for all of this technology stuff. Or the opposite to that is that they can have a military strike, Mars, come in, and just there will be a lot of deaths. So I know that there currently are peace talks between President Trump, President Putin, President Zelensky, as well as other leaders of the European Union, and I believe there's like the president of NATO or somebody high up in NATO is also there. Because even though the US has been supplying military weapons, it's been the Ukrainian people who have held up against Russia, a superpower. So, that says a lot about the Ukrainians, that they've been able to withstand so much tragedy over these like 2.5 years that they've been at war with Russia. So, on another note, I'm glad to see that some nations have acted and have done some airdrops of food and medicine for the people of Gaza, finally. Um, I hope they do the same thing with Ukraine, that they do get assistance and this thing comes to an end. However, I don't think that that's going to happen. Why am I saying that? The eclipse is going to trigger Mars. And these are the transits that are surrounding uh, the natal chart of Ukraine. And don't get me wrong, I hope that this does come to peace, peace and love, and everybody's happy and they kiss and make up. But we have Pluto transiting Pluto in exact conjunction to Saturn. So that is, to me, the hardest transit any country can have. You have mass destruction, right? Conjoining Saturn. So that is not good. We have their MC is at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So it's the Scorpio degree in the sign of Scorpio. And they have Pluto in Scorpio. They have Pluto at 17 degrees of Scorpio. And Uranus is, well, it's at 1 degree of Gemini. So that's a very wide angle. But then they have this eclipse right on their Mars. They have the Pluto under Saturn. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope that everything works out for the greatest good, right? But the to me, the potential of a military, one of those really devastating strikes can happen in Ukraine. And that's just that's just the way I see it. I don't trust President Putin. He's a former KGB. So they're doing these peace talks, and he just authorized a major strike, one of the most blowing uh, strikes. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. So, you say one thing, but you're doing something else. Anyway, on a personal note, this new moon um, is in a sign of Virgo. So let me switch over to the natal chart. There we go. To the natal chart of the eclipse. And like I said, there's going to be a new start in this house, the Virgo house. So wherever Virgo is in your natal chart, Virgo deals with health, with diet, with work, with daily routines. Virgo is about details. Virgo's a perfectionist. They're like super, super picky. They can be very critical about themselves and also about another person, a job, a project. You know, they're just very fixated on being perfect. So this is something that in the area where Virgo is in your chart, you need to be aware. So let's talk about the 12 ascendants. For Aries, this eclipse is happening in your sixth house. So for you, it's a new start in just what I just said, in health and diet and work and daily routines, pets too, because the sixth house deals with pets. So for you, you can actually start a new job, but it would be a lateral move, not a promotion. Because sixth house is you just get another job like the one that you had, same title, maybe working for another company or maybe working for another department. It's not technically a promotion. So, if you've applied for another position somewhere else in another department, this eclipse might just bring it in for you. You can have a new coworker come in as well. It talks about, new starts in your workplace, right? Some areas might even start a new health regimen, very strict, very detailed, as well as an exercise routine to go with it. Um, you can make appointments to see your primary care physician. You can start taking supplements, vitamins, and like a real down to earth diet and exercise routine. Just make sure that you consult with your doctor, that you don't go, if you were a couch potato or you are a couch potato, which is very, very rare for Aries, but like if you have Mars in Taurus or Cancer, I can see that. But make sure that you don't start from 0 to 100 in a snap of a finger because you can get hurt. So talk to your doctor, get a, what do you call it, a personal trainer, or just, take it slow, but this is what this energy is bringing. This eclipse, on an even more positive note, can bring you a new pet. Because the sixth house rules pets. You can also get rid of a bad health habit that you have, like give up smoking. Neptune rules cigarettes, and this eclipse is in opposition to Saturn and Neptune. And if you give it up now during the eclipse, it will be final. You can finally stop smoking. For Taurus, this eclipse is happening in your fifth house. So it's all about romance. If you have children, it's about your firstborn. Creative projects, hobbies, vacations, and just children in general. If you are single and looking, this is a great opportunity to find someone, maybe at work or through work. Just be mindful that Uranus is squaring Venus, so it might not turn out to be a long-term relationship, but just take it slow. Enjoy dating, enjoy going out, enjoy the company, that type of thing. Um, it's a time to have fun, fifth house. So do something you enjoy, gardening, flower arrangements, whatever you have as a hobby. You can go on vacation because vacation is also considered fifth house. Your firstborn can have an opportunity come up as well. Or maybe one of your other children wants to start some kind of sport. Fifth house is amateur sports, like recreational stuff, right? Or maybe you and your child can both start a recreational sport like swimming or rowing because it's an opposition to Neptune. It could be something water related. For Gemini, this eclipse is happening in your fourth house. The fourth house rules your parents, family, the physical structure where you live, whether it's an apartment or a house. Um, maybe, maybe it looks like this is an eclipse can trigger a move, right? So you may be moving from one place to another because, God willing, you've got a property, right? You've bought your house, you've bought your apartment, or you found another rental that's more economical or it's better located, right? If you're looking to sell a property, this is a great time to do so. And if you are trying to sell a property, Jupiter in Cancer is the best time to do it because after we have this Jupiter in Cancer, I do anticipate that the real estate market is going to start to crash. I know in some areas it's already crashing, but it's going to get, worse. If you're not buying or moving, then maybe you are redecorating your house, remodeling it, buying new furniture. Maybe you're, redecorating it with a Neptunian flair, like, or maybe Neptunian is like the sea motif, or maybe it's antiques, Saturn, right? Your parents can come and visit you. And also, fourth house, be mindful of spiritual experiences because the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th are the natural water houses. So, a you know, things like this, deja vu, having a prophetic dream, stuff like that. It depends on the planets that you have in the fourth house. Cancer, this eclipse is in your third house. So this house rules communication. It rules your thoughts, your mind, your siblings, your extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, your neighborhood. It rules short courses, learning, studying, short trips. This is a great time to start a course, something where you can get maybe a license or a certificate. This eclipse can also uh, make it happen where you buy a new car, a new computer, a new phone. Of course, if this is in good aspects to your natal chart. Otherwise, if it's in bad aspects, then you're going to have some car repairs or computer repairs or your phone can die. Like I said, it depends on your natal chart. It is an amazing time to take a short trip with a sibling or a family member close to the ocean because of the opposition of Saturn and Neptune, or maybe to a historic place. Neptune is ocean, Saturn rules history, so maybe you can go visit some kind of historic monuments or something like that. Leo, this eclipse is happening in your second house. So the second house deals with the money that you make from the job that you do, things that you value, and also things that you eat. So, are you finally going to do a budget? This is great energy to do it. It's a great start for you to put that budget together. Or maybe are you thinking of buying a luxury item because Leo likes expensive stuff? and the second house is triggered. Maybe you're going to be trying new foods, maybe new recipes, maybe new places where you can go to eat that you wanted to, and now this is the opportunity for you to do that. This eclipse can also bring maybe a second job, like a part-time job to bring in more income. You can focus on trying to look for maybe things related to Neptune or Saturn. Neptune, photography, a yoga teacher. Um, Maybe you can actually, if you're an artist, because Leos can be very, creative with talents, you could be selling your art. Or maybe if you are into acting, maybe you can get a part-time at a theater or something related to Neptunian things. Um, with Saturn, it would be like a museum, stuff with history. A, yeah, those are the things that come to mind right now. Virgo, the eclipse is happening in your first house. So for you, this one is a big one. This eclipse falls in your sign. So what new thing are you going to start? Right? This is like like a January 1st, we all make our list of things that we want to accomplish. So Virgo, this is the start of a new year for you. So, and with the eclipse, you have a lot of power to do that. So maybe you're concentrating on having a new look, a new diet, a new exercise program, a new health regimen. This is a time where you need to focus on doing things on you, for you, right? You should be feeling more enthusiastic, have new energy all of a sudden. A great time to initiate new programs that enhance your physical appearance. With the opposition to Saturn, it is a great time to build muscle. Of course, always consult your doctor. Don't start any exercise program without the proper guidance. But anything that you do with Saturn rules time. So the muscles are going to stay. So good luck with that. I hope everything works out. For Libra rising, this eclipse is in the 12th house. So it can bring a new start to maybe going into therapy for some self-destructive behaviors that you have, or maybe fears of inadequacy, fears in general, some kind of subconscious issue that you've been carrying for a while. Perhaps you enter into rehab for, addictions. I mean, fill in the blanks, right? Sugar, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. With the opposition to Neptune is a great time to give up cigarettes, to give up smoking. Um, so basically use this energy in the 12th house for on a constructive basis, right? Whatever is pulling you down, whether it's a person, a behavior, an addiction, this is a great time to start something that will put an end to that behavior. So, maybe your therapist, try to get somebody older, a mature therapist, because Saturn is in opposition to that. Saturn and Neptune are in opposition. So maybe somebody that's more mature would be a better therapist. But of course, the choice is yours. Scorpio rising. This eclipse is in your 11th house. So this has to do with, the 11th house is friends, groups, organizations, social organizations, professional organizations, your goals, your hopes, wishes. On a positive note, you can come up with a whole new goal, a dream that you're hoping for. You can join a new social or professional organization. You can even, a new friend can come into the picture. Maybe somebody older, Saturn, because it's in opposition to Saturn, or spiritual, opposition to Neptune. It's a good time for like just socializing, enjoy. It's not just all about work and making money, because Scorpio is very money oriented. So have a good time with this. I hope that you have new friends come in that will uh, make you a little bit more social and not so work focused. Sagittarius, this eclipse is in your 10th house. So the 10th house rules your career, your standing in society, your parents as well. So what does this mean? You can get a new boss, right? Because it's a new solar eclipse, a new moon solar eclipse. Or maybe you're the one that can get a position. It's usually a promotion or maybe another job in another department or another company because it's 10th house. Sixth house is lateral moves an equivalent position in another company. So this one can bring in a promotion for you. Or maybe you may be assigned a new work project, one that requires like very detailed oriented focus. Um, Maybe a creative project because of the opposition to Neptune, where your artistic skills, creative ideas can just marvel everybody, right? It's going to be a lot of work because Saturn is in opposition, right? So maybe a lot of hours, you're gonna have to put in a lot of hours, but um oh, the other thing is maybe you want to start a new business. So this could be the time where you decide to do just that, right? I would not start the business on the day of the eclipse because that's very, the energy with an eclipse. Wait a few days, but maybe the new moon, if you have a new moon in your 10th house after the eclipse, that would be ideal. For Capricorn, um, Capricorn, this eclipse happens in your 9th house. So this is not a bad place to have an eclipse, right? Because the 9th house deals with long distance travel, spiritual beliefs, higher education, legal matters. So it could be that you're starting a long distance trip or maybe a legal case. Um, you decide to sue somebody. So this would be, again, do not start it on the day of the eclipse, but maybe a couple of days after. Maybe you get your legal documents. And this is a start of you being a resident or a US citizen. Or, you finally decided to go back to school and start at the university, right? You're starting the university, you're starting college. So this is a great time to do that. Here in the US, the university starts in the fall for incoming freshmen. So it's always new experiences in the college world. Aquarius, this eclipse is in your 8th house. So 8th house deals with death, sex, taxes, inheritances, money that comes in one lump sum, joint finances. So you may be looking at your investments and perhaps sell and move the money around, and then invest in something new that you have in mind. You can receive a financial gift or maybe an inheritance comes in, it comes your way, a tax refund, an insurance payout. You finally get the money. Like I said, it's money that comes in all at once. Or maybe if you are buying a property, then you get the approval for that mortgage, and that would be great news because, you're going to be a homeowner. Pisces. For Pisces rising, this eclipse is in your 7th house. So this house deals with long-term relationships and love and business. It's also the house of open enemies, legal cases. Um, for some of you, maybe someone can pop the question. If you've been dating for a while, you've been boyfriend, girlfriend for a while, maybe this is a time where a serious relationship is set into motion and somebody asks you to marry them, um, which would be nice, because Pisces always, they're very romantic, you know. Or this could be the start of a new legal case, right? Or a new business partnership. So we covered everything. You could be getting married, or you could be setting up a new business, or maybe a new business deal with your business partner. So anyway, this is how I see this eclipse. I hope that with the information for, with Ukraine, I hope things work out for the better and it doesn't turn out to be another blow to those people. But anyway, as always, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, send it to someone else who it may help, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.